Iran rebuilds its arsenal. Senior Israeli officers are warning that gaps in readiness and defense funding could leave Israel exposed to a sudden war. IDF Central Command Chief Major General Avi Bluth warned that Israel must prepare for a sudden, unexpected war breaking out without clear warning signs. Bluth issued the warning after a surprise readiness inspection in the West Bank on December 30th that tested how units would respond to a fast-moving crisis. He said the baseline scenario for planners is readiness for a shock outbreak of hostilities, rather than assuming long warning times. The inspection evaluated 3 battalions across multiple brigades and regional divisions to see how they perform under pressure. IDF teams checked outpost defenses, procedures, and the force's fitness for both routine security and emergency situations. The findings will be used to sharpen standards and improve readiness across Israel's Central Command, according to local reporting. Bluth said, and I quote, "The baseline scenario we must prepare for is readiness for a surprise war. We are required to maintain a high level of preparedness and alertness, while using the time to strengthen our professional foundations. To identify gaps before they become root problems, learn, refine processes and continuously improve the readiness of our forces, in routine times, and during an emergency." Unquote. The surprise inspection, which tested 3 battalions across several brigades and regional divisions, focused on real-world defensive performance. Bluth stressed that such inspections help identify gaps before they turn into systemic failures that are harder to fix. The Army said the lessons learned will be used to raise standards and tighten readiness across Central Command, which oversees the West Bank. Interestingly, just a day later, Israel's Defense Ministry raised its own alarm over the level of funding available to sustain this readiness. On December 31st, Defense Ministry Director General Amir Baram warned that pre-war thinking was returning in Israel's economic planning. Baram said Israel went back too quickly to October 6th, referring to the mindset before Hamas's surprise October 7, 2023 attack. He warned that pre-war economic assumptions have returned even though security risks remain elevated on multiple fronts. Baram argued that current budgets are not at the correct operating point for the IDF, given the pace and scale of operations now expected. Baram said, and I quote, "We went back too quickly to October 6th. We are certainly not at the correct operating point in terms of funding volumes and cash flow, at the pace and scale required for the IDF. The budget framework agreed for 2026 is NIS 112 billion, roughly $35 billion. The Finance Ministry knows that the operational framework, the total scope of missions, that the political echelon imposes or is expected to impose on the IDF, will be far larger. What does it do? It plays games with the defense establishment, consistently under budgets, drags the industries into debt, and then accuses the IDF of alleged overruns that are clearly inevitable." Unquote. This funding dispute comes as Tehran is reported to be rebuilding and expanding its arsenal after the brief but intense Israel-Iran war in June. Israel recently admitted that it failed to fully destroy Iran's missile program during 12-day June conflict and associated strikes. As per Times of Israel, Iran's ballistic arsenal is roughly where it stood on the eve of the war, despite Israeli and US attacks. Reports estimate that Iran still fields around 2,000 heavy ballistic missiles even after the 12-day confrontation. Notably, Iran's 2026 defense budget surged after the June war with Israel, reaching new record highs. Tehran's overall defense and security spending was increased by about 145% compared with previous levels after the conflict. The government said total defense and security allocations for 2026 will amount to approximately $9.23 billion. Iranian authorities framed the budget surge as necessary to strengthen deterrence and manage what they call growing security threats.